This is podcast whatever. Who gives a shit?
Hello, power bottoms. How is everybody doing
All
tonight?
the power bottoms out there. This one's for you.
Tops, stop really listening
trying,
now.
Baby. Trying to hold back this feeling.
No tops allowed.
So long. And if you feel like I feel, baby.
This is a bottoms only event, ladies.
Wow. Let's get it on.
So,
So let's see. Oh well. Okay. So today was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm actually glad we waited a day to record a podcast.
I am too. It was kind of serendipitous. We didn't have time to do it yesterday. We went to a concert, but
oh, fuck yeah, dude.
I'm grateful for it because it's been a fun day of just watching people's whole life crumble around them because they have based the last 2.5 years on this Russia collusion absolute hoax. And what's so funny now is now that it's not collusion anymore. Now it's they're turning it into Trump obstructed justice.
Yeah.
Which even Mueller said in the report he didn't. So
right. The report was like, we didn't find any direct evidence of collusion.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's.
I love it too because there's like so many people that are like, well, we haven't. It's 400 pages. Have you read the 400 pages? And I'm like, no, but
neither of you.
But CNN probably did. They probably got a whole team to do it, and they probably finished it in an hour. And if they had anything in there,
take pages 1 through 25.
That's exactly what happened. I'm certain of it. They gave it to all the interns to figure this shit out, or like legal interns or whatever.
I'm so glad I'm not an intern in that
CNN,
field right now.
Yeah, you'd have to deep throat Brian Stelter, which would just be horrible.
I don't know.
I'm
a little cock slut.
Let me show you what Brian Stelter looks like.
Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm a little worried now that I've said that. Have I sealed my fate?
Describe what Brian Stelter looks like.
Well, he's just objectively, he's balding.
He's bald.
He's spray painted on hair. Is that what it is?
Yeah. And what's so crazy is I think he's only 5 years older than me.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we're very lucky that both sets of our parents have
hair.
Yeah. Full heads of hair.
It ages you really fast, unfortunately. Yeah. It's one of the things I've never cruel to anyone about because it really is.
No one in my family is bald.
Yeah,
no one.
I don't know because my mom's all of them are dead, so I don't know that, and they were dead like before she was even 6. So, and then my dad's all of them held on to it. So, well, who the fuck knows though? Because a lot of them weren't actually my great grandparents.
Yeah, so. The lineage is a little muddy
because my great grandmother was a giant whore. But yeah, so anyway...
she was a cock slut.
Yes, she certainly was. So yeah, that's Brian Stelter. And Tucker Carlson has dubbed him the eunuch of CNN, which I think is pretty good branding.
Oh, God.
But yeah, even he's kind of having to admit defeat today. It's been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But it's... it's one of those things
that... be defeated. Who gives a shit anymore? Take your L and go.
Right. Well, what's so crazy about it is it's like, at the end of the day... It would have been people celebrating for the fact that our president committed treason.
Right.
It's like almost as if like they wanted that bad news.
Well, of course
which is bad
they wanted it.
But it's bad for everyone. So that's what's so weird about it is it's like why would you celebrate something like this?
Right.
But it's so funny because like you and I I think that less so you, but certainly me. Like I started to sort of get pushed towards the center. Not because I changed my opinions really, but because the left got so insane around like 2014, like when I was starting to notice it.
Yeah.
And then now it's like this particular thing, this collusion bullshit was one of the biggest things for me of just like further solidifying that I have no interest in these people or what they represent. And also too, like exposing... I wrote in our notes about how like all of my liberal icons that I grew up liking that had the opinions that I had and would say them with power and it would say them eloquently have just turned into this giant bucket of feckless faggots that just are so useless. Like Bill Maher, he would not
Attorney
shut
General
up about this.
Bill Maher.
Yeah, attorney. Okay.
There's no collusion. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not going to say that. Trump did something. Okay.
He was caught tiny-handed. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna grab him by the pussy, okay? That's like what's so annoying about these fucking shows is that, and I don't know if I said this in the podcast or not, but it's all these people that used to be pretty objectively funny. Like I liked the Colbert Report. I liked, and even when Steven first took over the late night show, it was holding together because the Republican. All the people running for the Republican nomination were objectively hilarious and just ridiculous, and these kind of establishment people that have made my life miserable for the last 2 decades.
Do you remember that dude who wore a boot on his head?
Was it the guy? It was like the troll campaign, right?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
There was also that dude who became a meme that was like rent is too damn high.
Oh, yeah.
And he wore he looked like a black Karl Lagerfeld.
That wasn't.
It was Karl Lagerfeld.
I think that was Herman Cain.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Shit, and now he's with Trump now.
I maybe oh no, then it was Ben Carson.
No. This was like Obama era. This is like first Obama election era. And it was like the rent is too damn high.
Let me see.
It's real unless I'm a psychopath.
No, I remember it.
But he literally wore like a suit. Yes, he was the black Karl Lagerfeld.
Oh my god, he's amazing. He looks like a
Isn't so fucking cool.
like a white plantation owner, but he's black.
I love it.
Holy shit!
The rent is too damn high party.
I
Isn't he so
I agree with him.
fucking cool. I hope he's alive still.
Jimmy, Rent is Too Damn High Party is a political party primarily active in the state of New York which it is too damn high.
Yeah, first election of Obama.
Yeah, that is nominated.
Around that time.
So Jimmy McMillan is his name.
Jimmy
my god,
McMillan.
this guy rules.
Yeah, let's check him out.
Damn.
Fuck yeah,
He looks like Samuel L. Jackson with like a Civil War beard.
He's still alive. He's only 72.
This guy rules.
And he lives in Florida.
That's also what I'm excited about. So Herman Cain is coming back. Did I mention that on the last podcast?
Sperman Cain.
Sperman Cain. He was just what was so sad is that he kind of missed the meme window. Like his campaign was sort of, but there were like, have you ever seen the smile?
No.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Oh, I think maybe you sent it to me, but please pull it up.
I don't think I did. There you go.
Oh God, it's so slow. It's so slow. Oh, and he does like a little giggle.
Yeah.
That is too much.
Yeah.
Paid for by the foundation of whatever the fuck Herman Cain.
Yeah, well, his pizza empire or whatever.
Oh, is he a pizza guy?
Yeah, I forgot which it's called. It's called something. I don't know. But
he has his hands in.
It's a franchise
Pizzagate.
of some. Yeah, exactly. He's molesting little children in his pizza restaurant in the basement. No, Herman Cain's way too cool to molest children. That's why people molest children. They're just not very cool. Which actually is pretty interesting because kind of gets me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which
What's this?
Which is I wrote in my notes that bullying incels is like the new Chad.
Yeah.
Which it is pretty fucking stupid when you think about it, in the sense of like all the people that mock or bully incels are the ones that demand tolerance in every other form of whatever. And usually aren't men. They're usually white women. This
is just like when, I don't know if this was one podcast ago or 2 podcasts ago, with that picture of Michelle Obama that says, on God, we gonna get you some pussy.
Yeah.
And we got to get these incels some pussy stat.
I mean, and what's so tragic about it is that, like, I think that people don't really recognize the connection between these types of people and the ones that are, like, committing mass murders.
Yeah.
It's like, the more you isolate somebody and put them into a corner and then they have no human physical connection of any sort, it completely creates something like this. And it's actually interesting. There was a really interesting YouTube comment. So, like, you and I are both into that weird ASMR shit. And there's a lot of... so I watch, like, chiropractic videos, I think, because it's kind of...
I love those, dude.
It's, like, the clinical part of it, but then it's also they know how to play to, like, the ASMR audience by talking kind of gently and... But then you get to like kind of see these people get relief, and it's just sort of like it's a nice sort of round package of the ASMR thing. But like a lot of people start, like, mostly women, but they start crying, like after they get these big adjustments. And of course the chiropractors play it into like, oh, it's just a giant emotional release that you were holding in your joints or whatever.
Oh my God.
Maybe, but I think someone had a comment on there that I think was probably true, and this will tie back to incels, but how a lot of them probably have never had like platonic. Or they haven't had platonic physical contact
interesting, yeah.
without any sort of like, like,
without it becoming sexual,
right? And so,
yeah, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of women.
Yeah, and then also for the person giving you the contact is like trying to make you feel better,
Yeah.
and so
Somebody you can trust.
I thought, yeah, exactly. I thought it was pretty insightful, it made me think about how important just physical contact is in general.
Of course.
And what's so crazy is like, so these people aren't getting any physical contact from anybody. They probably have no friends. And then they find friends online, and then they get banned from every main outlet. So like the public square, they end up somewhere on Gab or something, and then they find psychopaths that are as alienated as they are, that convince them to do really bad shit in order to get attention that they weren't getting before.
r/incels got deleted, I was scared, but they immediately recreated a new one.
Did they? What's it called?
It's called Brain Cells.
Okay.
But it's cells with one L.
So what's even the point of deleting it then?
I don't know. It's interesting. It's like that thing with Watch People Die.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm pretty sure somebody's going to remake it somewhere, but change the name of it just a little bit. Like Watch People... It was originally Watch People Die, right?
Yeah.
Change it to Watch People Dying. It just can't be the same URL.
What's so weird about it is it's almost... So, I mean, Reddit is primarily run by millennials, but it's just but it's such a boomer mentality to get rid of these things in the sense of like, you're never going to, if a video exists online at some point of someone dying, we'll take the New Zealand video, for example, it's never going to go away. You will be able to find it. And all you do is just kind of push it to darker parts of the internet, opposed to just allowing it to exist because that's the reality that we live in. And, it's similar to the Article 13 thing in Europe, where they're trying to they're saying they're trying to protect musicians and artists with this copyright, but it's such bullshit.
They're just banning memes.
They're banning memes. Yeah, exactly what it is, and it really is just and it's not even just to ban memes. It's just to be able to control the internet more.
Right, which is insane.
But it's also too again so fruitless because you just fucking put on a VPN and then you're not in Europe anymore.
Exactly.
So it's
dude, I was doing that at 15 years old. Yeah, I figured it out. It's so easy.
It's like a browser extension.
Exactly.
It's like nothing to do that.
So silly. And I did it to watch Netflix because I was in France, but I needed to be in the US to watch everything I wanted to watch. I just changed my IP to a one in the US.
Yeah, I've done it to watch Archer because they didn't put, or this was before they took Archer off of Netflix, but they didn't have the new season up, but they released it in Europe for some reason, but not in the US. Weird. Yeah, and so so I used a VPN in order to watch the new season on Netflix, but yeah, it's just such a funny thing of like how outdated people are in terms of their understanding of how information travels on the internet, and that it's such a massive web that there's no possible way that you can ever get something to not exist on there. And then that comes the slippery slope of we're going to try to define what hate speech is, which is so fucking pathetic.
Dude, when we were just watching that video of Tom Segura as Garth Brooks, he said something about how like this is where we're headed. That's so fucking crazy, dude. Like the deep fakes is basically what we're talking about, where you plaster somebody's face onto
so just some context.
Model of some sort.
There's a comedian that Sean and I like. He has a podcast called Your Mom's House. His name's Tom Segura. I really recommend the podcast. It's really irreverent, not political. It's just hilarious.
It's fucking great.
It's political. I mean, they sometimes will make little comments, but generally it's not their focus. Their focus is mostly just really gross or weird people clips, and mocking them, which is fun. But there's somebody online through his Twitter that will take like basically a face, because he looks like Garth Brooks and they mock Garth Brooks all the time because he's this weird sociopath. If you just honestly look at any interview with Garth Brooks
too.
His Instagram,
it's so fucking weird.
He's the strangest individual you ever, and I think he's just so fucking rich and famous and has been for so long that his connection to reality is completely distorted. About like this, how do I behave like human? Welcome to Studio G.
Is that supposed to happen?
Cool stuff. Neat stuff.
He's like ready to snap at any moment. He's going to kill someone.
Oh, for sure.
But he's killed many people.
I'm sure that he has, yeah. And probably many groupies in which
almost as many people as the Clinton Foundation. So
possibly, yeah. and
moving on.
And probably has fucked a similar amount of young boys, yeah. Or girls or whatever. I don't know, whatever his tastes are. whatever the minor de jour is at that moment. But yeah.
Gross.
So anyway, they took a face swap of Garth Brooks' face because they kind of look a little similar, and put it. And so it's Garth Brooks performing at a Mother's Day concert was kind of what I got from the context, performing a concert on Mother's Day, and they put Tom's face over Garth Brooks, and it was flawless. Like there was no, like when you turn his head, you'd kind of see a little bit of something.
Yeah.
But I was telling Sean that I think it's just the future of where we're going, and kind of an extension of the things we talked about in the podcast before, which is that this existence that we have now is going to change radically. And in this case, I mean, pretty much the technology already exists based on how much we've talked on this podcast. Someone could emulate my voice through an algorithm perfectly, and I've said enough words on this that you could replicate my voice and me speaking and saying, you know, really horrific things. And so, but then...
Well, we were saying that audio and video are going to become unreliable.
Yeah.
I feel like we're headed back to this point where it'll be almost as if we exist in a society without technology, without all these progressions that we've made. We'll have to go back to being like, well, none of this matters because none of this is reliable. This could have been faked. It'll be like we don't even have technology at all.
Yeah, I think so too.
In the judicial system, at least.
Yeah.
You know, body cam footage won't mean anything, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
But you know, we're kind of headed that way.
I think so too. And I was thinking about something the other day, or yesterday rather, about just kind of the future of where this is all heading, but I can't remember now.
Dash cams won't mean a thing, dude. It's in terms of law and like the judicial branch, it's kind of concerning to me, and I kind of just thought of that. So you need to.
No, he's fine. I just thought he was puking. Yeah, he's making all kinds of noises. Let's see.
I can recount my.
Yeah, you wrote in the note that you have an embarrassing story.
It's so stupid. It's not even that embarrassing. It's just like, okay, so the other night we went out to dinner with your friends, and we ordered the exact same meal. And normally I don't give a shit about that. I'll eat whatever the fuck I want because that's what I want to eat.
Yeah.
But two people mentioned the fact that we were eating the same meal.
Was it both of them?
It was the waiter and Mark.
Well, Mark will always.
So I know.
Yeah, that's his.
But
shtick.
the thing is, I wouldn't have cared if only one person said something about it. I'd be like, "What the fuck? Who cares? It's just the waiter."
Yeah.
But the fact that two people said it, the entire dinner, I was filled with shame.
Well, I mean, I could have changed my order and I didn't.
No,
so.
So that's why, like, when the waiter mentioned it, I was like, fuck, now I have to change it. And I was like, maybe I'll just take a look at the menu and order something else. And nobody passed me a menu.
Right.
They're like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I was like, and then we ordered the same salad too. The only deviation was that I ordered a coffee after dinner and you ordered a digestif.
Yeah, that wasn't a digestif. That was it was grappa, which is just like basically straight alcohol.
Well,
yeah, it's good, but
the Italians call it, or make an excuse for it, called.
I actually, and it's so funny because I hadn't had grappa in so long, and I drank it, and I'm like, fuck, this is like ethanol. Like it could be lit on fire for sure.
Dude, I had this. Oh God, it's an acquired taste, but I had this alcohol made by monks in France. I forget what they're called, but it was so herb or medicinal. It was so medicinal that it like was too much for me.
Was it like that scotch that I like green. That you don't like?
It was green. It was weird.
Green.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Was it not absinthe?
No, it was not absinthe. It was like their own specific. It's only made by these monks.
Let's see if I can.
It was so monks in France, but it's like their name is. Oh, there's Herman Cain again. Sperman Tang.
Sperman Tang. my man Sperman.
But it's like French monastery.
Chartreuse?
Yeah, chartreuse. Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
it's the color chartreuse.
Yeah, which is
It's so. Oh, it's so medicinal.
Let's see what it is. A French liqueur available in both green and blah blah blah. What is it? Okay, what is it made of?
It's like sage.
130 herbs, plants, and flowers. So it's basically like the KFC of alcohol. 130 herbs and spices. So vague.
Herbs and spice.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of monk piss in there too.
Herbs and spice curls.
Yes, herbs and scary spice. Is it kind of fucked up they made the black one scary spice?
Hey, no. It's only fucked up if you make it fucked up. Maybe she chose to be scary.
I don't think that any of them chose any of that. I'm sure it was a bunch
all
of
shitty marketing.
Yeah, marketing and A&R.
Because I don't know who's who anymore. I couldn't even name all 5 of them.
I know
right?
Posh Spice is the one that has pushed out all of David Beckham's kids. And then there was Sporty Spice.
Posh Spice is married to David Beckham?
Yeah, that's Victoria Beckham. Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
She really did that to him.
and then there was a Baby Spice,
Sporty Spice, right?
Sporty Spice, Scary Spice.
Sporty, baby,
I think we're missing one.
scary, posh.
AIDSy Spice. It's like the one dude in the group, and he has HIV.
Chinese Spice. she's just a lady, but she's Chinese.
She doesn't even really sing. She just she just plays a small drum.
She just happens to be Chinese.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't play a drum.
Yeah,
That's
like all
racist.
why? Chinese people play drums. Everyone plays drums. I'm just saying that she had no utility in the band. She's like a friend, so like they felt like obligated to put her in the band.
Sporty, funky? No. Junkie
Spice.
Funky
yeah,
Spice.
they had a really serious heroin addict Spice.
Junkie Spice.
Junkie Spice. Then Junkie Spice then became AIDSy Spice because she got AIDS from all the
Okay, that makes sense. There's a natural evolution.
from
of
shooting
Spice.
heroin into her. I would say her dick, but she's trans. I mean, why not?
What? She is?
Yeah, Chinese.
Well, she is now.
Chinese
We
Spice is trans and has AIDS.
Just decided that.
She's kind of a intersectional icon. Mm-hmm. She
covers all the bases.
All the bases. She's ill.
Ill.
Well, she's got AIDS.
She's an addict.
Yeah. She's a lot of oppression. Chinese. I mean,
Yeah.
which that's a whole thing.
How did we get here? Oh, we got from the dinner story.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what that was, but I was just so filled with shame from that.
I think it was partly like our French waiter who was like both simultaneously
we were in an
kind of
Italian restaurant.
but he was French.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, you're ordering the same thing. You should have ordered something else.
Yeah,
so
you
you
should
could
fist
split
fuck
it."
yourself, you stupid
like,
fucking frog.
It did make me a little upset for a good 10 minutes. After that.
I don't know. I mean, having worked as a server, I would never make comments like
Our
that.
meal was so fucking good, though.
It was good, yeah.
So much fucking truffle.
Although, yeah, we were burping up truffle for
Dude,
like 2
for
days.
24 hours,
Yeah.
I had truffle breath. I brushed my teeth like 3 times in that span.
And then you still burp it up, and you're like, ugh.
I mean, I'll still eat it again.
And then we ate truffle lobster mac and cheese yesterday.
Dude, we've been eating so good lately.
Yeah, that's been good.
We're treating ourselves.
Yeah, and those
What's
2 meals
going
were
on?
free. I think that's
know,
part of
right?
why they were so good.
We didn't pay for either of them.
No.
We didn't dine and dash.
No. Now, the people we were eating with were older, so it's kind of expected they would take up the bill, and then...
It was very sweet.
And then I had a gift card to the place we went to yesterday.
Oh, so good, dude.
Before we saw Bob Moses. Which I actually found out why they were playing there.
Why?
Did I tell you this? I think I told Jareth, but... yeah, so they just wanted to put a concert in between their 2 Coachella sets.
I love that.
And I actually
I didn't know they were at Coachella.
And this will actually be a good way to segue us into that. But yeah, so yeah, they were, and I was, because I followed them on Instagram today, and they're playing a pretty big stage, and so
wow.
So it was kind of reassuring because it was weird because we saw like they had like a quasi viral song called "Tearing Me Up" a couple years ago. And then, yep.
But you were expressing a little bit of sadness because they sort of downgraded in size from the venue.
It was like this kind of small, like divey bar in Pomona. It had a nice stage, but it was small. Yeah. But then it wasn't packed. It was like, right. I mean, it was full-ish, but I'd probably say like 75% full.
Yeah.
And they were like they were selling out the Wiltern, which is like a big theater, and we're not. I mean, it's a medium to large size theater in Los Angeles, really gorgeous. And then but then I found out that like, oh, this is kind of a spur of the moment.
It's
thing.
So cool that they did that. I didn't know.
And we're pretty fortunate to get to see them there too. But
so they're doing both weekends at Coachella.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And but yeah, so we did want to talk about that. How a bunch of just fucking assholes descend upon the Coachella Valley,
Palm Springs.
Yeah, and
destroy the ecosystem
and just become
the neighborhoods. Yeah.
It seriously is like the worst version of internet culture, just ascending upon one place.
Yeah,
and there's just like, I mean, we had a whole fucking podcast about lifestyle bloggers, but it's those fucking people who are like influencers Or I had a buddy who, and I told you about this, but one of my really good friends, he had artist passes because he knew somebody who knew Childish Gambino's people, and he was sending me texts about how miserable he was. He's like, I'd rather just be out with general admission, like all these fucking people in here with their fake clout, and how many Instagram followers do you have? Like, who's your agent? Like, it's just
oh
like,
my god, I dropped my Mercedes-Benz keys.
oh no, I'm so fucking bummed out that I have to wear my backup sunglasses. It's just like, it's the biggest collection of assholes. It's really the worst. I mean, it really is the worst. And you know, like even so, I used to go to. I mean, I'm 20. I'll be 29 here in a few days, and I used to go to all these. Like, I used to get free passes to Bonnaroo, and then I used to get free passes to Coachella too. I could still get, I think, artist passes to Coachella through a few other different people, but I don't like going because, like, for a few reasons. Like, number one, like, I'm a pretty responsible person, and then all of my friends don't know how to handle doing hard drugs, so I end up babysitting all of them while I'm on hard drugs. And then the other part of it is that you're stuck. You can't fucking leave.
No way out.
And so, like, if it was a one-day thing, I would be totally into it. But the fact that it's 3 days...
You could go for one day.
You could, right.
But you have to pay for a whole fucking
It's fucking
weekend.
like $9,000 now, even for general admission. So what's the point? And then... And two, like, for what? To be, like, surrounded by a bunch of fucking 14-year-old assholes on Molly? It's like, I don't really have much interest in this anymore. And also, it's really the worst way to see music. Like, the sound's never very good. Like, the EDM tent's fine because the sound's isolated, but it's kind of why, like, Hollywood Bowl sucks, for example. Just the sound just dissipates if you're not super up front. Yeah. And so it never sounds good.
Did we go see something at the Hollywood Bowl? No, we saw... I feel like I saw somebody at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, you might have. I really hate that place.
Yeah,
the sound
I've seen
is just
Shawn Mendes at Staples Center.
That probably sounded good.
Oh, we went to go see Dua Lipa at the Palladium,
yeah.
which I thought was nice.
Yeah, that was great. That's a really cool venue because it's weird but it's big. It's almost like a giant roller rink that's like circular.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but that place is like pretty legendary. But yeah,
I think my mom saw
all the big acts
Tom
that don't
Petty
want to
there.
do. Yeah, that's actually that'd be a great place to see
Yeah.
Tom Petty. R.I.P. But the it's just Coachella's it's the absolute worst. Like, basically anything that bugs you about online people, they're all there. It's where they all go. And
I saw this. Oh, well, I actually showed you. There was this video. You see, there's like a huge Ferris wheel at Coachella or whatever. This video of this guy like deep throating his boyfriend in the Ferris wheel. Which I don't know who said this, but it was probably like a very sensual moment. Was it Jareth who said that? He was like, they probably like thought this was really romantic.
I think it was Jareth, yeah. My friend, yeah.
It's like you're really up high, like in this Ferris wheel, this all glass like thing.
And the reality is they were just on so much Molly that they thought it was a good idea to fucking blow each other on a Ferris wheel.
Deep throatcella.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, he was going at it with some serious.
But the video got deleted.
Oh,
which is too bad. I couldn't find it again after I went to the link. It was gone.
It's somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's probably, if I went on YouTube right now, it's probably on there.
I saw, so this gay couple posted, like, a different gay couple posted matching photos, or like outfits of them, or photos of them in matching outfits.
Ugh, I hate that so fucking much. I hate it so much.
But it was like 3 of them, and their caption was like, which of these do you like best? After their first weekend at Coachella. It's like, okay, whatever. But somebody quote tweeted those 3 photos, and they said, I don't care, but y'all are like suspect of this deep throat incident on the Ferris wheel. Like, that is sus, but you guys are...
And they've only been dating for, what is it, like
I think a couple months.
Yeah, that's still like deep throating in public timeline.
Yeah.
Remember we were walking out of the place I was DJing at on New Year's Eve, and there were the 2 guys blowing each other in the alley?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was hot.
They were so shameless.
I know, what the fuck?
They just like got up and laughed and then like kept walking. We're like, Jesus fuck.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I know like that's like a fetish for some people, but it is not mine, so I don't understand it. But it just seems like it's like, is it real? I mean, is like fucking getting worth getting arrested over? I don't
or
think
becoming
so.
a registered sex offender.
Yeah, right. Like depending on how close you are to like a playground or some shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that's no fucking good.
Yeah.
Although I do get a little bit of exhilaration when I get like my butt smacked in public. A little bit, like a light, unnoticeable one.
Yeah, Do I do that to you sometimes?
You have a few times.
Okay, well, I'll keep it up then.
But it's weird because like we haven't even kissed yet. So
yeah,
it's like,
no, it's just this weird sort of gray area. This like it's just been like almost nearly 2 years of tension.
I'm waiting.
my balls are
so heavy.
so ready to be so heavy balls.
Dr. Drew keeps pushing like the thing that like men don't understand that cum is not stored in the balls. Cum is produced by the prostate.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Sperm.
Yeah.
Or not sperm, semen.
Yeah.
Sperm cells are produced in the testicles.
Correct.
But they're stored in the seminal
vesicles. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I speak on an 8th grade level.
He's explained it before, but because he had prostate cancer, so he had it removed. But
I have such a fear of that.
Why?
Because I like to have my
you want some big
prostate.
Loads?
I like to have my prostate.
Right? Yeah. It's so funny when I don't even know why I didn't think of that. Like that's partly why like gay sex even makes any sense.
I like to have it a little bit irritated sometimes.
Yeah, that would I would be
disturbed.
I would be curious to hear like from gay guys who've had to have it removed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like when Dr. Drew said that, I was like, ooh, I don't know. Like if I ever got, so he didn't have prostate cancer, did he?
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering if he got it like proactively removed, but no. So if I did get prostate cancer, I'm gonna fucking knock on wood because I don't want that to happen because I want my prostate.
Yeah.
I want that shit.
Well, if it's not in your family, you probably
no,
get
it's
it.
not. No.
Yeah,
but
you don't really have any cancer things in your family, do you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Heart stuff though. But I think I'm okay right now. But yeah, dude, I don't want to get my prostate removed.
Well, still, I mean, I think I met your whole family, and you've got a pretty rotund family, so no offense.
Not really on my mom's side.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, they're all like kind of white Latinos that are like a little.
For the most part,
waspy.
my mom's side is pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of my cousins, thin.
Mm-hmm. Well, not.
But
one
on my
of them, right?
dad's side, there are some people in the family who are a little bit bigger.
Your dad's side definitely is. Pretty big bunch. I was like, damn. And it was so funny too. Like, and again, like you hate when I do this, but it was pretty funny. Like, because they're all kind of classically Latino, so like they're kind of darker but also like really small. So it was so funny going.
I know you tower over them.
Yeah, it was. I felt like I'm not
with
even
your northern Italian and southern mutt genes.
Or Eastern Bloc mutt trash, but somehow made me like quasi tall. But although the shortest of, I don't know, it seems like my dad and brothers sucked up all the Viking DNA because they're all like 6'4" and I'm like 6 foot.
I'll suck up some Viking DNA with a straw.
God smited me twice. He made me shorter than them and then also a big faggot. So maybe there is something to this. Maybe we did cause 9/11.
God does hate gays.
Yeah. We probably were responsible for burning down
no kidding.
Notre Dame too.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. Neuter.
Do you want to say it on the podcast?
Say what?
That we don't believe the official narrative.
Oh, that it was that they're saying it's an accident. I don't think it is.
I don't either.
But I'm okay with them calling it an accident for now.
Yeah, and so like and it was, cause I was texting Sean the day that it happened, and so when you see, there's one photo in particular that the news released. It's like a drone shot above, and you look at the old wood, blah blah blah, but like clearly an accelerant was used. There just is there's no way that it would have spread that fast without. And so if we're gonna believe that this was an accident, we then have to believe that they would hire a crew that had any level of incompetence to work on literally a structure that's priceless.
Yeah.
If you wanted to put a price value, billions and billions of dollars.
Dude, I don't know.
I don't buy it. But I was saying to Sean the day that it happened that, worst case scenario, because there have been, I think, 875 Catholic churches vandalized in France in the last year. And I didn't really look into who was doing it, but I mean, you kind of have an idea. There's a bit of a cultural divide right now in France between two religions. One comes from not France. And my fear when I was texting Sean was that if it did get proven that it was a Muslim person, considering how tense everything is with the Yellow Vest protests, there would be a civil war.
Bad. It would be really bad. And I think they know that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's still an accident right now.
Yeah. Well, and it's also so strange how they're talking about it. They're like, we're still investigating, but we're certain it was an accident. I'm like, well, then why are you still investigating?
Yeah.
What's there to investigate then if you're sure it was an accident? But
dude.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
This one. So there's been like this meme since it happened that like everybody is using this as an excuse to post pictures of their time abroad in France to show that they've
fucking
been
true.
to Notre Dame.
Oh my god! And
Fuck you.
Because it's really similar to when the Bataclan happened and everyone changed their post, like or Charlie Hebdo, like Je suis Charlie.
Je suis Charlie.
Yeah, and it's like you don't fucking care.
No.
That's like the really funny thing to me. Like I had to sort of come to like so when Christchurch happened, I had to sort of think about it and. A lot of sort of my political changes have been realizing that any outrage I had was to put on a performance of it, and various like of course I mean in the whole world I don't want innocent people to die, but I don't particularly care about people that aren't in my kin dying. Like I think you have a maximum ability to like and love about 30 people maximum. Like that's absolute topped out maximum. And anybody,
that's exhausting.
Totally. and so it's one of those things where if it's not your family or anyone that you care about in your life, you really don't care if they die. I mean, come on. People die every single day. In Africa, it's just a constant nightmare of disease or now there's another huge Ebola breakout as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof. Jesus.
It'll probably turn into another little crisis if they don't contain it, but yeah, people die in horrific ways every single day. But everyone just being like, "Oh my god, I'm so heartbroken." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're not." It actually was kind of strange because I had more of an emotional reaction to Notre Dame burning than I did to really anyone dying. It was weird. It was like I think because it's like. Your life is so fleeting and short, and there's like as Louis C.K. said, there's way more dead people than there are alive people.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And so it's that kind of thing of like human existence doesn't really. Like, I see us mostly as sort of a parasitic organism that doesn't really do anything to benefit anything else other than ourselves. Which I know sounds super bleak, but I don't even really mean that in a negative way. Just you should think this way just to put your existence into perspective.
Right.
Not thinking you're too important because you're not. Nobody is really at the end of the day because you'll just be fucking dead. But something about losing a structure like that in artwork is losing culture, and that is depressing because it's like, and then now like Macron put out this fucking stupid statement where he's like, well, Notre Dame didn't really reflect the current French populace anyway, so now we're going to rebuild it in a more multicultural. That'll reflect the multiculturalism of France, and they deleted it after.
Good, they should delete it.
But it's just like, dude, you are so like he. It seems like he just wants people to protest more. It's like he just wants to stoke flames in his nation. He wants to keep making decisions that the populace don't want in France, which is why his approval rating is like fucking 20%, and everyone fucking hates him. And yeah, so. Anyway, it was tragic, but it is that thing of like it's really hilarious to me when people. Because if you really cared about people dying, you wouldn't flex about it on Instagram.
Right.
Because then there's no altruism there. It's like you should privately sort of weep if you really feel about this or feel something, which you don't. And then, but posting about it on Instagram is very similar to like, look at me at the homeless shelter. It's like, well, now you're not doing a good thing anymore. You're self-serving.
Right.
You can't. Like if you it's like donating a wing to a hospital but putting your name on it. It's like you're doing this to sort of leave.
It's like that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
When
Larry David. Yeah. I forget what exactly he did.
Ted Danson. So they both donated. I don't remember what the building was exactly.
It was an art museum or something. Art museum.
Yeah, and then Larry David put his name on it, and then Ted Danson did it anonymously, but then told everyone that it was him, and then so everyone's like, can you believe that Ted?
My god!
Do you know who Anonymous is? It's Ted Danson. And then Larry's like,
"Oh my god,
he's not anonymous. That's bullshit."
Dude, I love that show.
Me too. It's one of the best.
I gotta rewatch
things on
it.
TV.
Yes.
Let's see if we got something else
Yeah.
on the note here. Oh yeah, so I have the thing of everyone's trying to cling to power. It's a really interesting thing. I was thinking about it, so like kind of on the heels of what's going on in France and European immigration problems and all these kinds of things. It's so interesting to watch how. So we have all these, like, everyone is so committed to their tribe now. Like no one, which is like sort of what I think you and I, we were talking about it briefly in the last podcast about how we just don't want to be political pundits at all, because it's really pathetic to watch these YouTubers just turn into basically a shill for everything. It's like, you decide you're conservative, well then you have to be pro-life and you have to be Catholic and it's like, why can't you just be a nuanced version of a conservative? Like, and I because I'm like super pro Second Amendment, it's like even though I have all these other mostly liberal things, it's like that automatically
it makes
and
you
that's
conservative.
and that just proves the tribal of the left. But what's so funny is, like, when I was growing up, I was sort of dreaming of this secular society and how everyone would find worth within themselves. But it turns out that people are unable to do this, and the bees need to go back to the hive. And so now they've created the religion of social justice.
Which is crazy, because it is like a religion. It's a doctrine.
Yeah, and being white and a man is original sin, and they've got all of it.
Crazy, dude.
But it's also so interesting. I think like this thing with all the stuff with Ilhan Omar has been so illuminating, in the sense of, like, you and I both know the reality, which is that Muslims will always hate Jews and Jews will always hate Muslims. And, like, at the end of the day, like, I will align with Jews because they don't, like, kill me throughout the world. They seem to be pretty indifferent to me being gay. And the majority of the Muslim world is
a lot of
not
people
okay with
don't want to admit that gay people are literally dying in Muslim countries.
It's insane to me, and it's insane to me that in this country that that we are aligning with them, and again, it's like, and the kind of gay activism that I grew up in was rejecting all religion.
All religion
because
is
it
bad.
Didn't, because it didn't.
You didn't fit into it.
No.
So
and then so like that
good.
created this sort of urgency in myself to sort of find my own spirituality and my own sort of understanding of my existence and what it means in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But then I realized that people aren't really able to think like that, and most people are fucking retarded and unable to think for themselves, and they'll just create a new religion, which they managed to do. And the Ilhan Omar thing, because like nothing. I love that Jews do this thing where they conflate any criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, and it's like there's plenty of policies that we participate in with Israel that are ripe for criticism, but we're unable to do that without being called an anti-Semite.
It's like a sovereign nation. You can criticize their policies.
Yeah, and then but it's just, but again, like I mean, at the end of the day, like if I had to pick one or the other, I can't take credit for this. As Attorney General Bill Maher, he said he was talking to some Muslim apologist on his show, and
we're actually talking about Bill Maher, not a spin-off of Bill Barr.
Actually Bill Maher. But he was telling her, he's like, look, do you honestly think that if this country, the United States, was 51% Muslim, it would be the same country you grew up in? And
it wouldn't.
Of course it would. It wouldn't. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, he has like another word that he says all the time. I said it in the text that I sent you. It's...
Is it don't? Does he do the just don't thing?
No.
Okay.
Okay. That's kind of... Okay.
Just don't.
What about racist Bill Maher?
No.
Okay, wake up, white people, okay? There's a white genocide going on, okay? Okay. Yeah, so but I thought it was it was a great point, because and it is that kind of thing of like, I don't know why people don't see it this way. And then the lady came back with like, well, it's a majority, Jewish and Catholic country, and he's like, yeah, exactly, and it's one of the freest, most amazing places to live. So I can, like, even though he's super anti-religious, he's like, I can tolerate that. Yeah. If they're not legislating to change things. Yeah. And so like I don't like, and this idea of this progressive Muslim person just doesn't exist. Right. It's like, and I think that like with her, like
sorry, go ahead.
I just think with Ilhan Omar, it's like all of this stuff where she does pander to left-wing things is I think it's a bit of an act. And if she had like a constituency that like actually grew in size, like let's say there was 25% Muslim representatives in Congress, it would laws would start to try to change laws.
Yeah.
Like in a really regressive way.
I mean, you were saying this, I think last night, that there is no such thing. This is a quote from
Majid Nawaz. Yeah.
There's no such thing as the moderate Muslim.
No, it doesn't exist. Yeah. Because even the kind of conservative, like relatively secular ones, number one, I mean, even like in a really mainstream Muslim region, which is Egypt, I think it's like 73%, and this is Pew, this is not some Breitbart study, this is Pew, 73% of them still think that leaving the religion you should be killed.
It's insane,
so,
dude.
like, these aren't moderate, this isn't a moderate ideology, and I think it's just because it never had an Enlightenment period. All the rest of them did. They still held on to a lot of dogmatic horseshit, of course. I mean, we dealt with that in the fucking 90s, but it seems to like really have lost its cultural significance, and then now it's sort of the rise of I don't know, of Islam, I guess, and kind of protecting it. And then any criticism of it, similar to the criticism of Israel, it's like any criticism of Muslims, then it's like, no, criticism of Islam, the doctrine. Well, then you're, how could you criticize peaceful Muslims as people? And it's like, well, that's not what I'm doing.
Right.
It's the ideology. And like, also too, like, don't give me the horse. Like, the scariest Muslims are Chechnyan, and they're all white, which means it's probably why they're so fucking scary. Is like, you give white people a shitty ideology, and they get real fucking scary real fast. So, so it's a bit of a tricky thing. So we got about 15 minutes left, and the thing I really wanted to focus on, and I actually almost decided, like, I was so kind of disturbed about it the day that it happened that I almost went live on our thing.
Really?
And I knew no one would probably watch, because I didn't end up doing it. You would have seen it pop up, and then I would have explained it. But so Julian Assange got extradited. And arrested. And I think I don't know where he is exactly now. It seems like the story kind of went cold, but this should be something that concerns all of you, because it's been really bizarre to watch how the media has been. I think calling them the mainstream media is inaccurate. It's the corporate media.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
just
dude. Corporate media.
Yeah, it's just all fucking money, and so then to watch them go so far as to call him a traitor when he literally, all he has done is just published information that has been given to him.
Yeah.
So if the person
kind of an ally of the American people, honestly, because telling us things we should probably know.
He did, including publishing Chelsea Manning's unredacted stuff. And there's even a lot of debate because people were talking about how what she gave because the stuff wasn't redacted to put people's life in danger. And I've heard from reliable people that even that was kind of bullshit. Like it put people who are undercover or whatever in danger. Yeah. And then I've now been hearing a lot lately that is a bunch of bullshit that's been spun up by the Justice Department to kind of make her look bad. So she got thrown into solitary confinement first, and she's still there. And this was maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then he got arrested about a week ago, I believe. And then we find out that we paid the Ecuadorians $4 billion. So here's the big question, right? So, okay, well, first off, before I get to that, you should be very, very aware that everything that Julian Assange has done is exactly the same thing as what the Washington Post did with the Pentagon Papers or the Panama Papers or any of the stuff that has won Pulitzer Prizes and has taken down presidencies and has done whatever else. It was just someone who had a source that published the source, and that's what journalism is. Like, and that's what Julian Assange is. So they have now officially jailed a journalist. But because what's so crazy about it is the ones that are so vigorously calling for him to be jailed are liberals.
It's weird. But isn't Ben Shapiro doing that as well?
Well, he's a fucking just totally bought out.
But it's weird because he's like he's like a neocon, so it's like, and he's a huge figure for them. He's influential. He's a
neocon to where like you actually should be suspicious of him.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot what I'm trying to remember what it was.
He's probably funded by.
So when Trump made the announcement that he wanted to pull out of Syria, Ben basically dedicated a whole episode of why we should stay there. So like he's
funded by something.
Yeah. He's just compromised. I don't know how exactly, but like there was no. It was very similar to Michael Knowles' thing, where it's like I know what you're doing right now isn't honest.
This is fake.
And so like but why are you doing it is the question. And so
it's a little scary.
So it's like I've actually I still watch Ben pretty. I mean, of course I listened to his thing today, but it's like there's always a moment where the show switches and you're like, I'm out.
This is not.
Yeah, but he's great for days like today because he was a lawyer, and so he understands the language of these kinds of documents and things like that. So and he didn't really spin it. I mean, obviously he's happy that this was the case, but he does a pretty good job of reporting. But it's like I think anybody who listens to him needs to be seriously aware and be a pretty careful listener when you start to notice that you're being fed propaganda. It's very similar to listening to RT. Like RT was really great about this whole scandal, but you start to hear things that are very obviously that it's a Russian,
There's
thing.
A little
so
tang.
But I mean, it's like any government thing. It's like the BBC is gonna. It's all this. It's all the same shit. So it's just gonna. It's gonna. But they would have reporters on, like Glenn Greenwald, which is one of like the people who was originally the one who was calling bullshit on this Russiagate thing. And they would have him on and give him an audience to speak. And so at the end of the day, I respect them for at least giving dissenting voices that CNN or MSNBC certainly would never fucking have on. And they would just continue to lie to us. And just, I guess they were hoping this would be real. I don't know what they thought the end game was. But anyway, sorry, back to Assange. Like this is similar to Edward Snowden and then everything that Assange released. This is all stuff that we as the American people should have known. I mean, and what's so crazy about the liberals being upset with him right now, and it's only because of the DNC leaks and because it actually ended up hurting them. But they're so quick to forget that he also was the one that exposed that the war in Iraq was a total fucking farce. Right. That we were there for no fucking reason. And liberals loved him then. Yeah. But then now he's the enemy of the people and should be arrested and What about Julian
Ass Sponge? And he
it's all right.
sucks up some cum with his butthole?
It's pretty...
No, I'll think of something else. Yeah. Julian... Yeah, okay. I'll work on it. Sorry, I got to workshop that.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right way. But yeah, it's one of those things where like I'm shocked that people aren't massively troubled by this.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because I think he's a hero personally, and I think that all the shit that he exposes, it's never been one-sided. I mean, I think that, and again too, it's like even everything that he exposed, and now kind of looking through all the information on the collusion thing, is kind of seeing that this was actually the DNC doing a bunch of fucked up horseshit. And the two things that I would have never learned about had that hack not happened, I would have never known what a superdelegate was, which is the biggest bunch of horseshit it's not.
I remember when that came out.
It's not a democracy now. Now you still have elites making the decisions for you. Yeah. And then we wouldn't have known how badly Bernie got fucked. And then unfortunately he cucked out so hard and
so depressing.
And he just gets worse every day. I mean, he really has become such an embarrassment of his former self. And but yeah, I mean, like the only ones that have really stayed true to the course is Tulsi Gabbard. She's been calling this bullshit since day one, and
she's so good.
She's the only one that called that supported Assange.
Dude, she is so fucking honest and good. I just wish she got enough support to be on the debate stage, which is good. She'll be in the mainstream eye, not just on Twitter and independent stuff. Has she been on anything like Ben Shapiro or Joe Rogan? She went on Joe Rogan. Yeah, that's great for her.
I think she would go on Shapiro. I think that Shapiro doesn't like her though, so I don't think he'd have her on.
Does he like Andrew Yang?
I think that he found they just talked about UBI, so I think that was an angle in which he could take. And Andrew Yang is a pretty libertarian, Democrat. He's kind of an interesting sort of guy that way. But I mean, I think that Ben's such a fucking neocon that her being super anti-war doesn't fit his narrative. And that's kind of one of her biggest platform angles right now is just no more fucking foreign wars, no more foreign intervention.
Get us the fuck out of there.
I just really, really, really wish she would change her views on the Second Amendment. She is really bad.
Oh, really?
Guns. Yeah, she does not understand
That's not something that will ever change. I don't think we'll ever get our guns. I don't think there's enough support for that.
I mean, it just depends on where you live. Like, I mean, for instance, like here in California, like I would love to buy high capacity magazines, like, and like, because I want to have. I mean, why can't I have it? It makes no sense to me. It's like, or like, is it really going to make that much of a difference if I just have a bunch of magazines, or if I have one that holds 20 bullets, or two that have 10? It's like, what fucking difference? It makes no fucking difference.
Right.
Because again, it's not like, like it's the means through which people commit horrible crimes. But you're not asking the question of why is this violence happening? And to me, no one wants to handle that problem.
Right.
The media doesn't want to admit that they make these people super fucking famous. They publish their manifestos. And so basically it's a guarantee if you're like an incel, like loser who has never accomplished anything in life, that this is a way that you can be super fucking famous, even
and get
if it's
lots of
infamy.
pussy up or down in hell.
I mean, dude, you know, all those fucking serial killers that like women have that weird crush on them and end up marrying them, like,
dude,
like the Menendez brothers are married. They're not serial killers, but they killed their parents. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, he got married.
I mean, most serial killers and
Charlie
cult
Manson.
leaders, yeah.
There's
a movie coming out soon.
It's the Tarantino one.
Charlie Says or Charlie Said?
Oh no, because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Tarantino's new thing. It's about Charlie Manson.
Oh, Sosie Bacon is going to be in Charles Manson's like it's like a film about his like followers, like a couple of the girls who were his followers.
Yeah, like
who ended up
Squeaky Fromm and all that.
Yeah, like who ended up like life in prison. But it's like their story, and Sosie Bacon's in it. Kevin Bacon's daughter.
They were gonna let one of them out because she had terminal cancer, but I don't think they ended up doing it. But yeah, it's well, why is the Manson thing so hot? Because we saw that it's like an anniversary or something. Because we saw
Bad Times at the El Royale,
which was basically a Manson type figure.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and then the new Tarantino movie is gonna be about that.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. But
I think it's an interesting angle to look at it from the perspective of like two of his women followers.
Yeah, well,
and their suggestibility and like, because I mean, Sosie on the podcast I listened to, Tiger Belly, she was saying that like it's interesting to explore how like being a girl who has never been like loved or given attention in her life and finally meeting this figure who like makes you feel that way. You can do such stupid things when you feel loved, which I thought was pretty profound, but it's like, it makes sense for these girls.
It's just like daddy issue things, probably.
Yeah, abandonment of some kind to make you feel unloved, or if you're not pretty or something and nobody has ever looked at you in a way that you want them to.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
So like,
well, it's like the female incel.
Charles Manson made them feel, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Because then they go and commit these crimes because their suggestibility is so high. Which is crazy.
And there's a lot of psychological research on the fact that like being ostracized is a form of like psychological
torture, right?
Torture, yeah. And so we just proves that we're social animals. And so if it goes away, then it really starts to create some dark shit in your head. And it kind of seems like that might have been what they all sort of fell victim to. And I think a lot of why these mass shooting things happen. It's like, well, no one's going to give me attention, so I'm going to do it. Infamy's fine, too. You know, I don't really care.
Still attention.
Yeah, and they certainly get it.
Uh-huh.
And then, we kind of capitulate to all their things. But we're about an hour here.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening.
I'm going to go dissolve my bones in some acid right now.
Yeah. Is that how you loosen up the bones?
Yeah, I take a nice acid bath.
Mm-hmm.
Just relax. Maybe a glass of wine, a glass of gasoline, or bleach.
You mean gasoline like they used to burn down Notre Dame?
Hey.
All right,
I'm sensitive.
We love you. Shunk Mike Horn.
Bye.